It was a time of fear in Northern California. A killer stalked the night. He struck without warning. His victims were young couples. They were enjoying quiet moments together, but their peace was shattered by gunfire. The killer left no traces. He vanished into the darkness. The Zodiac Killer, as he called himself, loved attention. He sent taunting letters to the police. He mocked their efforts to catch him. He boasted about his crimes in local newspapers. His words dripped with arrogance. He claimed to have killed many more than the police knew about. Was he telling the truth, or was it all a sick game? The public was terrified. The Zodiac's reign of terror lasted from December 1968 to October 1969. Who was the Zodiac? Why did he kill? And most importantly, where was he now? These questions haunted investigators for decades. The Zodiac's killing spree began on a cold December night in 1968. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date. They parked at a lover's lane in Benicia. It should have been romantic. Instead, it turned deadly. The Zodiac approached their car. He fired multiple shots. Both teenagers died. 6 months later, the killer struck again, this time in Vallejo. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were sitting in a parked car. The Zodiac shot them multiple times. Ferrin died instantly. Mageau survived, but was badly wounded. He provided the first description of the killer. The next attack came in September 1969. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying a picnic. The Zodiac approached them wearing a bizarre costume. He tied them up and stabbed them repeatedly. The final confirmed attack happened in San Francisco. Taxi driver Paul Stein was shot in the head. The Zodiac wasn't content with just killing. He wanted fame. He craved attention. So he began writing letters. He sent them to local newspapers. Each letter was a mix of confession and boast. He provided details only the killer would know. He taunted the police for failing to catch him. But the most chilling part of his letters were the ciphers. These were complex codes. The Zodiac claimed they contained his identity. He dared the public to solve them. The first cipher was cracked quickly. It contained a rambling message. The killer spoke of hunting humans. The second cipher proved more challenging. It remained unsolved for 51 years. In December 2020, a team of cryptography enthusiasts cracked it. The message was disappointing. The Zodiac was playing games. He claimed to have killed 37 people. The search for the Zodiac Killer was intense. It was also frustrating. The police had little to go on. Eyewitness descriptions were vague. A white male, aged 25 to 30, average build, short brown hair. It could have been anyone. The killer left no fingerprints, no DNA evidence. He was careful. He was cunning. He always seemed one step ahead. The investigation spanned multiple jurisdictions. Vallejo, Napa, San Francisco, each had a piece of the puzzle. But no one had the full picture. The Zodiac crossed county lines. He moved between cities. This made coordination difficult. Each department had its own theories. The lack of unity hampered the investigation. The Zodiac Killer case changed law enforcement forever. It exposed weaknesses in the system. Communication between departments was poor. Evidence sharing was limited. The Zodiac exploited these gaps. He moved between jurisdictions with ease. This led to major reforms. Police agencies learned to work together better. They developed new systems for sharing information. The case also pushed forensic science forward. The police were dealing with a careful killer. He left few clues behind. This forced investigators to get creative. They developed new techniques for analyzing evidence. Handwriting analysis became more sophisticated. Code-breaking skills improved. Decades have passed since the Zodiac's last confirmed kill. Yet his shadow still looms large. The case remains open. It continues to fascinate the public. Books have been written, movies have been made, amateur sleuths pore over old evidence. They hope to crack the case that stumped the professionals. The Zodiac has become more than a killer. He's now a cultural icon. Why does the Zodiac continue to captivate us? Perhaps it's the unsolved nature of the case. We love a mystery. The idea that a killer could taunt police so openly and never be caught is both terrifying and intriguing. It speaks to our fears about justice, about the limitations of law enforcement. If the Zodiac could get away with it, what other monsters might be walking free? The ciphers play a big role in the ongoing fascination. 2 remain unsolved. They promise answers. The killer's name